Jasper Mayor Richard Ireland is with us now near Crossfield, Alberta. Thank you for joining us in this very hectic time, Mayor Ireland. I know it's a fluid situation. At this moment, what can you tell us about the latest on the ground in Jasper?
Well, unfortunately, Erica, I can't give you full details because I don't have those either. I was on a briefing call with people on the ground in Jasper when the word came that was just in your earlier report that those without breathing apparatus had to leave, and that included the people who were providing the briefing. I can say that we have been apprised that there are multiple structures burning in the community. It appears that the damage will be extensive, but I don't have details beyond that. As you indicated earlier as well, there are additional structural fire protection units coming to town, and they have some heavy equipment, but whether that can be utilized to any effect at this state remains to be known. So if this is simply absolutely our community's worst nightmare, residents watching from afar, far beyond nervousness, I think like all residents, I feel essentially devastated, shattered, and absolutely helpless in the face of nature, which is just so powerful.
And we just heard from a resident who has been evacuated. What would you like to tell those who left town about what could await them?
Well, I certainly want to prepare them for significant loss. But, you know, I wanted to temper that with a bit of a message of optimism. Our community has been through hardships, nothing quite like this before, and we have been resilient, and I'm expecting that will surface again. And if there is any silver lining in all of this, it is the evacuation order that was issued Monday night in a bit of a rush, some people thought, but now in retrospect, it was so important that that notice got out when it did. It was so important that our residents were prepared and so responsive, because the reality is that everyone got out safely. And from my perspective, yes, losing structures in the community is like losing a close friend. We are so used to the character of our community, but the people are the heartbeat of every community, and the people have been saved, and that is significant. We can find a way to rebuild. We can find each other to hug again. I'm sorry, because we all got out.
Yes, that's certainly something to feel very optimistic about in these very difficult times. You spoke with a colleague earlier today and said, today is the worst day of your life. How are you and your community holding up?
Well, I can't speak for everyone. It has been such a trying time. You know, the last 48 hours have been such an upheaval for everyone. And people were thinking, of course, that the evacuation and wondering whether and when they might return to their homes was as bad as it was going to get. But of course, now it's turned a corner, and it's perhaps worse than anybody imagined. So for people to come to grips with this is going to be extremely difficult. There are so many people that have had long, fulfilling lives in our community, and they may come home to find homes gone. They may come home to find businesses gone, lives in total upheaval. So I can't speak for all, of course, but I think it's going to be widespread but shared heartbreak. It's such a tremendous shock to the system. I'm sure some are still reeling from it. But as one of your earlier guests said, one of our residents, it is a chance to rebuild and renew.
Now, we know late this afternoon, the Alberta provincial government called on the federal government for assistance. In the coming days, what kind of assistance will you be needing?
Until we know the extent of the devastation, I can't answer that. The people on the ground, I think, throughout the entire course of the fire, have not necessarily wanted for resources. They were just up against a really powerful fire that showed tremendously aggressive behavior. And it wasn't necessarily for lack of resources. They were simply unable to do much in the face of that onslaught. And it may be the same in the community right now. As I say, I'm told that there are additional structural fire protection units still coming into our community this evening, and there is heavy equipment that might be used to take down some structures to save other portions of the town. But whether any of that will be ultimately effective in the face of this particular wildfire simply remains to be seen. It's one more of the unknowns that is so troubling to our residents.
We know you are a busy man this evening. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you, and take care.
Well, thank you for your time and for the expressions of concern that we have received from Canadians across the land. It really is appreciated for all the residents of our small mountain town. Thank you.
Jasper Mayor Richard Ireland.